Good evening, everyone.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
We'll get started in just another minute. Wait for some other people to trickle in. Looks like we've got about 5 attendees so far.
Kirsten, you have Benjamin in as an attendee, so he might need to be let into the meeting.
He should have received his panelist login. Benjamin, if you're able to get into your Desert Marigold email, you should have a panelist sign in. I'm going to take a moment to do that. I can always email it again to you as well. Okay, so we're still having that email. I'll send it to your personal account. Give me just 1 second. Right. Alrighty, we should have it coming right now. Okay. All right, so as Benjamin comes on over, why don't we go ahead and get started and he can catch up with us. And I think we've got everyone. Let me kind of scroll through here. It looks like we're missing Scott. Also, I didn't hear from Scott. And Myra, you were able to get in okay. Did you have any issues?
No, I just clicked the link you gave me and it launched the Zoom. So.
Okay, great. And Myra, how about you? Were you able to make it in okay through your Desert Marigold account?
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, Scott is just running a moment late. We'll go ahead and get started. So welcome to the December 1st board meeting. And it looks like we have 6 attendees, so thank you for attending. We'll go ahead and start with the verse, and then we'll move on to the agenda. So the true aim of education is to awaken real powers of perception and judgment in relation to life and living. For only such an awakening can lead to true freedom. Rudolf Steiner. And now why don't we go through our introductions? I'll kick it off and then I'll pass over and we can just go around robin. The next person can pass over to the following. I am Kirsten Gabina. I am the new board president, so I'm happy to be here and appreciate your faith and trust in allowing me to try to fill Gregory's enormous shoes in this role. And I have 2 children at Desert Marigold. And with that, I'll go ahead and pass on to Nellie.
Nellie Grossenbacher, 4 children in Desert Marigold, and I'm a board member.
Dan Franks.
Dan, how about you?
Sure. I'm Dan Franks. I am the board treasurer.
Myra.
Mariah Moon, new board member.
Mariah, I'm sorry, I was saying your name wrong. Mariah, thank you. Danielle.
Hi, good evening. Danielle Martinez, board member.
Mr. Tanner.
John Tanner, board member.
Right. April.
April Sauer, board secretary.
All right. I think that covers the board members so far. Let's go on to Mr. Maurizio.
Good evening, everybody, and a big welcome to our new board members and new president. My name is Frank Maurizio, and I'm the executive director.
Great. Michelle?
Hello, I am Michelle Kratzer, the parent council chair. Thank you for having me.
And last but not least, Emma. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Emma Carrera. I am a senior at our high school, and I am also the high school student council president. I have a little brother in first grade, and my mother is Adeline Carrera. I don't know if any of you know, but she was sometimes involved in some parent council stuff. So,
Great. Thank you for joining us.
Kirsten, if I could interrupt you just for a minute because Ben's still
Please.
having issues. He can't get in, so if you could just let him into the meeting because his link isn't working. And Mariah, I know you sent yours to him, but they're individual links. So that wouldn't help him. Oh, I see him. He's on.
Okay. Yep. I promoted him as panelist. I did it.
Would you like me to email Scott and see? Because I haven't heard from him. Okay, I'll try that and we can just move forward.
Thank you, April.
I know his email was not up and running as of the other day. So he's still, you might need to go to his personal email.
Okay. Thank you, Nellie. Benjamin, it looks like you're in. If you'd like to introduce yourself, we'll catch you up.
Hi, everyone. I'm not sure if you can see me or not. I think I'm allowed to speak now. I haven't been upgraded to a panelist, but I've been asked to unmute so I can at least speak from the audience. Hi, my name's Benjamin Fong. I'm a new board member, and I have 2 kids at Desert Miracles.
Great. I thought I had promoted you, Benjamin. Sorry. As I'm kind of fumbling around, getting used to this webinar format. Hi. Nice to see you. Great. April, just let us know if we can hear back from Scott, and we'll catch him up as well.
Okay. And Ben, since your email wasn't working, I sent you to your personal email the direct link for all the documents for tonight's meeting, so you have access to those now.
Great. Thank you so much, April.
Great. Thanks, April. Okay. So why don't we go ahead and kick it off? Frank, do you want to do your updates for us, please?
Sure. Again, welcome to all the new people. It's good to be with you. I hope everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving. And we are pressing on, believe it or not, 2.5 weeks, and it will be Christmas time. Wow. Some things that are happening around the campus. If you have had the chance to drive down 28th Street, I want to bring your attention to our new sign that lists Desert Marigold High School as now marked with a banner. And Steve and Hector were able to put it in a wood frame and put some special gravel on that parking area so it is more aesthetic to the eye. And we planted some plants right alongside that banner as well. Again, we're just every week trying to make something special to bring attention to that high school. And I think the high schoolers are happy with some of the things we're doing down there. We have a 8th grade orientation next Tuesday and Thursday, a shadow day, where the 8th graders will spend time with the high school students. Actually spend the whole day with them on Tuesday and Thursday. Half of the 8th grade will be Tuesday, half of the 8th grade will be Thursday. And then on Thursday, we will have a special luncheon with all the high schoolers, and the 8th graders will have a barbecue. We also have coming up a parent night for all of the 8th grade parents in the Eurythmy room, where they will meet with teachers who will speak on welcoming there and the things we have to offer. And I believe we have a special guest speaker from a graduate last year who is now at ASU Honors School and wants to come back and just say, here's what can happen if you come here. And we'll let her talk for a little while. And I think that is Miss Wabe. Am I saying her last name correctly? Wabe? And she will come back for that night to talk to the 8th graders and their parents. So we're excited about that. Next Tuesday and Thursday, we also have the Spiral Walk for K1, 2, 3. And I believe we have a senior dressing up as the angel as well. And we are pressing forward. As of this week, we do not have any cases of COVID on campus. So we are moving forward with our events, starting with the Spiral Walk. And then, of course, I know Michelle will talk to you about the planning is continuing for our why am I dropping the name of it right now?
Winter Fair.
Winter Fair.
Winter Fair coming up on Saturday, the 11th. That is in full planning stage, and we are ready to go. I believe the parents are making more swords this Saturday for that Saturday. Knock on wood, we're moving forward. We want to pull this off. And board, you don't know this yet, although I did announce it to parents. So if you got an email as a parent, we are going to post the Martin Miss celebration on February 2nd. Now is the date we are picking, as we feel we're getting a green light. We're not having any cases, and we recognize the importance of that day and the lesson of giving that comes from that Martin Miss celebration. And we are going to, it is being planned to go forward on February 2nd again. I think that's all I have as a quick update. I don't want to pass on Emma, because I know Emma has some time here to talk, and I want to turn it over to our student body president.
Thank you, Ms. Marcio. So I guess I'm here to talk about high school student council and their plans. I mean, it's not often we're able to tell anybody else besides the high school. So our plans for December. First, we have a bake sale this Friday. We're going to send out a winter-themed bake sale this Friday after school. We're going to send out notice to all the parents. We'll have one during the high school lunch for the high school, since we don't get off at the same time. And then one at 2 o'clock underneath the front patio area where the early childhood usually waits on just one half. So early childhood has the other half, and we'll sell baked goods there. All the proceeds go to our funding for our end of the year, all high school prom. We want to make it as special as possible. I mean, as it's my senior year, I also want to put a lot into it so it can be an enjoyable experience and memorable. All the proceeds are going to that. We're planning possibly another big sale, maybe in January, not entirely sure. But that's for that. Recently, we are deciding to head, yesterday was Giving Tuesday, and a couple of our teachers, who I'll give credit to this idea to, was Paula Cummings and Megan Kelsey, thought we should make it like more of a Giving December and hold a donation drive for a women's center called the Hope Women's Center. They got 5 locations all across Phoenix, and they have a list of things they need to donate for women in need and young girls and whatnot. So our plan is to hold a drive from next Monday to the 15th of December. And we're going to ask parents all over the school if they can donate, if we can all collectively donate at least 100 items of each of what they need for this shelter. Stuco will be collecting the items at the front in a donation bin and taking them to the high school to separate. So we don't have them all mixed up. We'll separate them into boxes. And by Wednesday or maybe Thursday, we will go and drive and donate it in the name of this high school, Desert Marigold High School Student Council. That's something we are going to finalize what we specifically need, what they don't want, so parents can know what to get without, being it too vague. And we're gonna hopefully have that out by Friday or this weekend. I'm just gonna double check with the organization itself to make sure that we don't get things unnecessarily. Again, a minimum of 100 per item is our goal, and we'd have about 2 weeks, 1.5 weeks to get it. So I think it should be enough time to give notice and collect donations. That's our plan for that, for a Giving December is what I would like to call it. And then we'll be moving on to January, and we are planning to have our prom in March. We're going to have it earlier this year because Miss Crystal Lee thought it would be great if we could get prom photos into the yearbook, because it doesn't coincide with when the yearbook gets published. So she suggested we do it earlier. And the reason why we're raising so much money is because we would like to rent a space that's not at our school, like an outdoor space to decorate. And I guess you make it more fun to, being like we're going out and we're going to go, maybe we're looking for smaller spaces. We're not a very large high school. So that's proving to be tough. Like maybe a hotel or something. In the past, we had a space by Barbara Cunningham. She used to, I think her husband had it was kind of like a warehouse. It wasn't that big, but it was a place she let us actually use for free. But it is rather large and makes the space feel empty. So we've decided to change our idea. And that's why we're trying to raise so much money, is because it's kind of expensive to rent a space at like a hotel or just a place where they hold events and whatnot. That is our end goal. We're also planning to hold maybe some social events, mostly for the high school, but we could even include middle school to, invite over to get an experience to just hanging out and whatnot. That's pretty much it for our plans as student council.
And
Emma,
thank you, Emma.
Emma, if I
Sounds like
may
you're doing
ask,
a lot of really wonderful things. Oh, go ahead, Danielle.
excuse me, Kristen. If I may ask, how are the improvements in the high school, and what do you feel is working well, and what might be missing for you?
I do gotta say, I'm really thankful for Mr. Paulo and Mr. Hector for making a beautiful courtyard. I've always felt like that middle part was lacking, with like all the dead grass and the rocks, and the tree was a little bit sad. But now it looks really inviting, and it ties together well. I can't wait to see what else they'll do. It'd be cool if they could extend towards, there's like the art room and then the tin can. There's like this little wide area in it. It would be great if they could extend a courtyard there, maybe even if it'll take a while in the future. And they can officially move all the picnic tables over there so that maybe we're in a more central area and we're not as spread out as we are when we're hanging out. Like we've got like 3 spots where people eat for lunch and snack, right? It'd be cool if we could have just like one spot. Yeah, I really love it. The sign looks great. I'm happy there's a sign. It's kind of hard to tell what it is with the brick wall. That's the sad part, but now with the sign, at least it signifies it. Yeah, definitely. And the grass also looks amazing. We didn't used to have grass in that little area. Again, Mr. Paulo and Hector set up sprinklers, so it grew really fast, and it just made the area more vibrant and just more exciting to be. It would be cool if we could get more art or murals. I know in the past classes have tried to do a mural on the tin can, we call it, but it's mostly stays unfinished right now. There's a hand tree, I believe, that the last year's seniors left. It'd be great if we could maybe finish that or add to it, just to make it more bright and inviting.
Thank you.
Great. Well, it's so nice to get an update and see what a student council is working on. Thank you so much.
Kirsten, thank you so much for letting Emma come do this. I think it's a great idea to have a student speak every once in a while. And Emma's a wonderful representative. As you can see, she's very much a high energy person at our high school, and the kids respond very well with her as their leader. And we're happy to have her do this for us. Thank you so much, Emma. I do have two more things to announce that I did not talk about yet. One is the status of the medieval games. Our committee meets again tomorrow. This will be the third meeting, and we're hoping to make a decision on a date and then an invitation to all the other sites in the state. We do want to be part of the medieval games, as we know that is very successful at DMS for many, many years. And hopefully at the next board meeting, I'll be able to make an announcement of that to you. And a new project we undertook that I included in your packet this time is called the Virtue of the Month program. LDC have come together to talk about how we can start. I've talked about first class all year this year. We want to be viewed as doing things first class. And so we want to start recognizing kids and staff members for being first class. Not one day of the week, but over a period of a month of who is shining in our classrooms, what teachers are shining and going above and beyond, what classified workers. If you're a non-teacher, we're now talking about people who work in the front office or aides or Steve and Hector, people like that go above and beyond. And we met today with several nominees, and I will announce that tomorrow. But the idea is to pick 4 students a month, 1 teacher a month, and 1 staff member a month. Each month, I will bring those winners forward to the board to just commend them as names. They're not going to come to a meeting, but I will announce them at a board meeting. I will go to their classrooms with a virtue that, because you can nominate based on different virtues, and Waldorf publishes these. They're like cards with a virtue like honesty or trustworthiness or sharing. And I will present them in class, in front of their whole class, even a teacher, even a worker.
We lost audio.
Frank, we can't hear you.
Can you hear Mr. Murzio? Okay.
No.
Can you hear me?
Now we can.
Okay, I'm sorry. I don't have to start all over, do I? Did you catch most of it?
We only missed about the last 15 seconds.
Okay. So the last piece I wanted to say was I will go into the classrooms and award those students with that recognition in front of their classes to thank them for the past month of the virtue they are displaying. And then, of course, I will have a day with a luncheon with all 5 of those people in my office. I will treat them to lunch, and I'm not talking about Burger King or pizza. I will get something catered that's nice for them so that I get to spend some time with these wonderful people and ask questions and thank them personally and let them interact with each other. We're just trying to create something that recognizes wonderful behaviors, wonderful virtues. We took these right from the Waldorf list of virtues. I credit LDC with coming up with that idea that we have a whole list that comes right out of Waldorf. And it's, again, there's 40 or 45 lists of virtues that we're going to utilize here. And it's not like February is this virtue month. It's whatever the teachers see in the nominating process for multiple kids, other staff members, other teachers. And we're just real excited to announce this in another 2 days and you will get an email announcing it as well. We're just happy to do something positive.
Cool.
That's wonderful, Frank. Thank you. I think it's a great idea and also very exciting news on the medieval games. Sure, there'll be lots of happy people to hear about that.
Yes.
Great.
I'll take this minute to say welcome to Scott. I saw you got in with us there. I see you down there. Thank you. Sorry we missed you at the beginning, but it's good to have you join us. And that's all. Just welcome aboard, Scott.
Thanks a lot. Sorry I missed the beginning. Surgery doesn't always go as planned.
Oh, jeez. All right, that's all for my update, Kirsten.
They're not still waiting on you, are they, Scott?
Yeah, hurry up. No.
Great. Well, I did want to say, Emma, you're more than welcome to stay on the board meeting. If you have other things to do or don't want to, don't worry, you won't hurt our feelings if you decide to bow out. But you're more than welcome to stay.
Thank you so much for having me. I am going to head out. I have stuff to do, but thank you so much.
You bet. Hey, great. So, Frank, I think we're still back to you on enrollment updates and approval for the 301 plan for this year.
Yes. As you know, the school board needs to approve the plan that the 301 committee puts together each year. It looks almost identical to last year's one, other than they added a couple of extra things people could do as extra hours. But it's for you guys to approve. And then I forward back onto the school to say it's approved. We don't actually take any more action after tonight until April, when they start filling out their packets and sending them in to me and the committee. And then our goal is to approve them by May. And then our goal there is we give a 2-week period for someone to appeal if they weren't granted that approval. And then, of course, we try and pay it in the last paycheck of June, which we did last year for the first time. And I know the staff was very happy to get that payment on this year's fiscal budget. And so that's there for you guys to actually call to order. I believe you have it. I sent it to you to see. And so you can ask questions if you want. You can call and make a motion to approve. That's in your hands to do right now.
Great. So if everyone's had a chance to review, are anything we need to discuss? Any questions for Frank?
To new board members, I'm happy to update you on exactly what 301 is. If you don't know what it is, it'll take me 2 seconds to do that. Just raise your hand and wave to me, and I'd be glad to do that for you. Okay, very good. And by the way, anytime you guys have questions about those educational issues, myself and Mr. Tanner being an educator, we both can answer so much of that I wouldn't have to research. I'm not an idiot. There are some questions I would say, oh, let me check on that. But I'm hopeful that I know most of what you need to know. 301, Prop 301 was put to the voters some 10 years ago. The voters in Arizona actually decided that there would be a special tax bracket, tax collection to go to only classroom teachers who are qualified teachers. And it's almost like bonus pay for showing you are employed more than half a year. You are in good standing with your school, meaning you are being offered a contract to come back. Your evaluations are good. And that you do extra things on campus as well, like serve on committees, attend events, coach or sponsor things, plan festivals. And as you know, at different schools, those are different type of events. But it takes a lot of extra to make the full cadre of what happens at a school outside of just a school day happen. And so The committee sets those type of events up, and it's a whole checklist for teachers to check that I did this, I did this, I did this, I belong to this, I serve on this committee. There's a whole bunch of extra stuff. But that money comes to us from the state depending on the size of our staffs. There's a very large pot of money that goes to the state from that collected tax benefit that goes to the State Department of Ed, and then they shift off to different districts depending on your size. We're lucky enough to be part of that, and we get a good size check each year. That 301, 40% goes directly to teachers who qualify. 40% goes for the district itself, like me and you, because I send that to you to approve at the end of each year, to things like lowering class size to hire extra teachers, or lowering class size to hire extra staff like electives. Like this year, we use some of that to hire a choir teacher. And then 20% of it can be used for supplies and things teachers need. So 60% goes to other staffing needs, and 40% goes directly to those staff members as kind of bonus pay. This past year, I want to say we gave $3,400 to our staff. I could be $100 off or so in my remembering that. But it was between $3,400 and $3,500 that those staff members, and when I want to say 16 of them received it this year for being highly qualified or state certified, being in good standing, working more than half a year. I think it's 2/3 of a year you have to be hired, and then serving on all those type of committees. It's very positive that this happens for our staff and for all certified teachers across the state of Arizona. That's it in a nutshell. It's still on the books for another, I think, 5 years until the public would have to renew that again. If you have a specific question at this time, feel free to ask.
I have a few questions, Frank.
Mm-hmm.
Do we currently have anyone on the PIP, the PIP plan?
The what plan? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
It says that a teacher would not be eligible if they were on a performance plan. Do we have any current teachers?
No, not right now for this year. We had one last year, but not for this year. And that teacher is no longer with us. For this year, we haven't even completed evaluations for first semester yet. So that is not, those teachers, if there was one in that situation, would find that out shortly after the second semester begins. And they would have the chance to rectify that evaluation, because most evaluations that I know of are done with the idea of, we want to see you improve in this and this. We give you time period to do that. We go back in second semester and see if the teacher has made those type of improvements for their official evaluation.
And do all the teachers have a say in this particular outline or the requirements, or is it just the committee that comes up with the?
The committee comes up with the plan, and the teachers get to vote whether they approve the plan or not. This plan was voted on by our staff. There was no one voting no. There were some abstentions that they chose not to vote, but there were no votes.
And your area of expertise, how does this compare with the other plans that you've seen in other schools?
In other schools, while there is representation from teachers on a committee, it is not made up completely of teachers. Other schools, there are board members on it, there are administrators on it, and there are teachers on it. And yes, other schools, the staff do have to approve it overall in a whole district. And that's part of the law that was put forward for 301 is each district gets the choice to decide what those extra things are. The things they can't, there is no levy on, is the 40-40-20. That is dictated by the state, how it's spent, and that it only goes to classroom teachers. Example, assistant principals, librarians, counselors, they do not have access to the 301 monies as they are not classroom teachers.
And does that exclude our specialties? Are they not considered classroom teachers?
No, they're considered classroom
They are
teachers.
considered. Okay. And what's the second category to qualify to participate in the plan that's in the test category?
Is it, are you asking, I don't have it in front of me. If you could read it to me.
Sure. So it says test K through 8, AEPA/NES for hired content.
Okay, those are your qualifications with the state.
Okay.
Example, the first way for a teacher to be qualified is to actually go to teacher training college and get a degree in education, and then have a state certificate that you applied for in the state of Arizona. But in the state of Arizona, because we've had such a shortage of teachers recently, there are several ways to be considered highly qualified. That is a different level than an actual teacher certificate. Highly qualified, you can have a college degree in anything and take the state test in the area you are teaching. So if you're a high school math teacher, you can have a college degree in anything, take the state test in math if you are teaching algebra, second year algebra, pre-calculus. When you pass those levels, you then become highly qualified in the state of Arizona to teach high school, secondary ed math. Secondary is 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's different for elementary. There's a different test for K3, for 5, 8. There's a different test for Latin or Spanish. There's a different test for choir. And so you just have to prove competence in the area you are teaching. And that is the NES test that you are talking about.
Thank you, Frank. Those were all my questions. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Mariah Moon, I
Anyone
love
else
that
have any
idea.
questions?
Yeah, I love that idea. Just a comment, and I would love to put to vote to approve the 301 plan for 2021-22 for our school.
So we'll go
Second.
ahead and do the motion. Yep. All those in favor?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear a second.
I said second, but I was quiet. And it was
And
good.
second.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
And Danielle, sorry, taking me just a moment. Nellie, actually don't have everybody on screen, so I'll have to come over. Great, thank you. And any opposed? And abstaining?
Only because I have to. I'm not linked in yet to read it.
Sorry about that, Scott. We'll get that fixed right away. Mr. Tanner.
Actually, I think we have to approve meeting minutes before they're officially acknowledged as voting rights.
I'm sorry, Danielle?
We may have to approve meeting minutes before they're officially allowed voting rights.
From the last meeting,
so
right?
We'll have,
Yeah.
Danielle, can
All
that
right.
be moved up in case there are more votes this meeting? Or do we have to wait to the end of the meeting to do that?
On the agenda, we can move it up.
sure. Let's go ahead and do that first. I'll go ahead and move to approve last meeting, November 17th meeting minutes. Any discussion?
I'll second.
Thank you, Danielle. All those in favor? All right. Any opposing? Abstaining? All right, great. So that motion passes. And now that we're official, we'll go ahead and raise the motion again to approve the 301 plan for the 2021-22 school year.
You want me to read it again, Kirsten?
Sure, that'd be great.
Mariah Moon moved to approve the 301 plan for the 2021-2022 school year, and Dan Frakes second.
Great. All those in favor? Great. Okay. Any opposing? And are abstaining? Thank you. Motion passes.
The other piece of information you asked about was student enrollment. We were holding steady in the mid 290s, but after we came back from break, we had several families move. So we're right at our budgeted number of 287 right now. We do have another tour coming up with another group of 6 to 8 families on that tour. I don't know if those are people who are specifically saying they want to come now, or if they want to, if they're getting a jump for next year's enrollment. But we're right at 287, which is what we were budgeted for. Of course, I get nervous when we go below the budget. But these are crazy times, you guys, as you all know. So,
thank you, Frank.
mm-hmm.
Hey. So we heard from Emma. Again, thank you to Emma. That was, Frank, I really appreciate you bringing that up there and having student council. Or I think, was it Danielle? Was that initially your idea? I can't quite recall. Thank you. I think that's a really nice addition to, a regular participant of our board meetings. For financial and budgetary matters, mostly just since we went over the P&L and budget and balance sheet last meeting, I just wanted to give you a quick update on the refinancing of the loan. RSF has not, our current loan holder has not been able to match what Desert Financial is proposing. So we are going forward with an application to Desert Financial. And I'm currently working on filling out all that paperwork in tandem with several other people, including Gregory, who's agreed to kind of help me since he kind of began that. And Dan, of course, will be leveraging your help as treasurer as well. So thank you in advance. And so that's it for the refinancing. I'm sure I'll have some more updates as that progresses. And then we have next up discussion and approval for minutes. We've done that. And some town hall proposed dates, as we want to get that locked in as we're coming up on that. I know we have lots and lots of scheduling conflicts. I met with Michelle, and we've got some winter fair and some book club overlaps, which is great. We're very busy as a school, but it makes it really hard to schedule. So I ask everyone, I guess let's start with who would like to attend the town hall? I know Mr. Merzio obviously will be there. I will be there. Is there anyone else that's, Danielle, it sounded like you were very, very interested in attending the town hall, and maybe we can work around those schedules.
But I'm happy to step away if someone else would like to, because I was able to attend the last one. So.
I'm the same. I like to attend them, but if somebody else wants to step up who hasn't, that's also fine.
Okay, great.
Can it be multiple board members, or is it? Yeah. I would be up, depending on the.
It could be 4.
As an experience, I'd like to, if there's an opening, only if it's appropriate.
Okay. So we've got Mariah, Nellie, Danielle, Scott, myself, Frank, and Michelle. I know that
I was just
we definitely want council to be able to come. Thank you.
Yes, please.
And remind me the date that works best for you. Was it the Thursday?
Well,
or no, that's book club.
And also Spiral Walk ended up being on the 9th too. So
maybe not Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday's not going to work.
Yeah, I'll have to look at the dates in my schedule to see, depending on which one you guys select.
Okay.
Is there
so the
any
dates
chance
we
that
have
we can
available?
move this? Is there any chance we can move it to January? Like there's multiple plays, there's the winter fair. It just, I know we wanted to do one every semester, but I'm feeling overload from other parents are feeling overload with multiple events. So
we
What does
can do
everyone think?
whatever we want, you guys.
I agree.
We really can do whatever we want here and have 3 instead of 4 and just do it right away that first week back in January, maybe Thursday of that week. So that's 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, January 6th. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
That's a Thursday night. What time? Would we do it on Zoom? Would we do it in person?
What has been the best turnout in the past?
Zoom's the best turnout. It just loses some effect. In person is very positive.
We haven't had a town hall since COVID.
Yeah.
I mean,
I would say this. I don't think it's a good idea to try and do in person and Zoom at the same time. It's like exactly what the teachers go through in trying to teach to 2 different venues. It's very challenging. One feels left out. That would be my 2 cents. Is if we're going to do, I say we do one or the other. We can't do both. It doesn't really.
I think it would be great to be back in person. And I like January.
Having never been to one of these, it seems like this is something where you want people involved and connecting. And I would think a face-to-face is probably the best option if it flies.
Frank, how do you feel about in person unless we get some cases or who knows what's going to happen or trend towards the holiday gatherings?
I'm with Nellie and Scott that in person is very important. Remember, we can always call it in person, schedule it in person, and if something goes awry in that first week when we get back, we can switch it to Zoom rather than cancel. So yes, I'd like to start shooting for in-person things if we can. It would be great if the in-person was in March when it's a beautiful spring night. January 6th, it's going to be chilly. So we might have, I'd rather not do indoors in person because I don't know what's going to happen after the holiday. Unless we just ask people to bundle up and
bonfire.
Maybe have a bonfire. I could have Steve put a bonfire out there. That's something. And these usually last about an hour, hour and a half. So it's not like it's a quick 20 minutes and you're back in your car. We need to be prepared that people could be a little chilly. As long as we prep it that way and say, guys, we'll have a bonfire. Please bundle up. We don't want to put you in a classroom where it's too small and we're on top of each other. We just have to sell it that way. But I do believe
Michelle, might parent council, Michelle, do you think parent council might be willing to share the coffee water pots so we could have some warm beverages? So maybe
I'm sure we can,
like we
yes.
do coffee mornings.
Yes, I'm sure we can do a coffee evening or something of the nature. So,
bubbling boiler.
What's that?
Bubbling boiler. Will you have it by then?
What time do you want to go?
Yes.
Any suggestions on times?
I mean, 5 is on the schedule.
I just have a comment, not that I'm suggesting either way, but I do know when we've had evening events that there are some people that live far away and they don't want to make the trek back, and it becomes a barrier. I'm not sure if that's a reason to push it up earlier, but I do know that I have heard in the past that when it's evening, some people can't come back.
if you straddle 5 o'clock, you could catch people after school and catch people getting off work that could come late. You could kind of maximize flexibility a little bit. Maybe they might not be able to attend all of it, but at least they'd be able to attend the first part of it or the last part of it.
There's 3 hour difference.
The only worry I have there
is it 3 hours?
Yeah.
The only worry I have there is, remember, we haven't allowed for town halls to have students at. It's been adults. So I hate to make it part of pickup where they're coming, they got a 2nd grader, a 4th grader, and a 7th grader standing with them in the crowd. And those kids don't necessarily want to stand there. Remember, they want to go play, and now they're unsupervised. And so Mariah is right that later at night means they won't come back. And that's why Zoom populated that first one so well. I want to say we had close to 60 people at the first one. Am I right in saying that, Danielle? You were on that one.
Where were they?
I do not recall the number.
I think it was around 60, which was wonderful.
Where were they held and at what time before COVID?
On campus, 7.
Even in January? And were they inside? Like, were they in the arrhythmia room?
Yes.
I don't think they were as frequent, were they?
Maybe twice a year.
Yeah.
But there was also probably public comment on the board meetings. So we're trying to have more town halls because we still don't have public comment on the board meetings. Are we opposed to being in the arrhythmia room?
I'm not opposed. I'm not opposed to it at all. I just wonder if we had 60 or 70 show up like the first one, they won't fit in there. That fits 40 max. 45?
And that's without any kind of social distancing. I think if we suggest social distancing, it's a smaller number.
It's quite possible it will be naturally smaller just because of the conditions Mariah spoke to, that a lot of people aren't going to drive all the way back in when they're coming from Apache Junction, Casa Grande, Peoria.
Michelle, what were you going to say?
I was going to say that we have had them outside, and it's difficult to see like the screen, but there have been like a lot of people the last few town halls, or the last town hall before COVID was outside, and there were a lot of people there.
I did forget about that one, and we were all just on the grassy knoll there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That did work. We had a PA system that worked really well.
Aren't we getting a PA system? Didn't we get one gifted to us?
We did. We have a new PA system donated by the Kerrs.
Thank you, Kerrs.
I'm not worried about the sound. This will be wonderful.
Thanks.
Just throwing it out there, would it make sense, because of these barriers that we're talking about, whether it's traffic, whether it's location, and whether it's jobs, should we alternate in-person versus Zoom, just so everybody has a chance to at least participate at some point, and just make it a regular alternation?
Good idea.
Sorry, Dan.
Oh, I agree with the alternating, because that will address the largest group of people. And I kind of like the 7 p.m. start time, because it's after traffic settled down for people who are willing to drive back.
Or after
it's already
family
cold.
dinners.
After family dinners, you can kind of get kids ready for bed for the little ones and whatnot, help out with that, and then kind of bail. And that's our family, kind of how we work.
So given that it'll be chilly, given that it'll be chilly in January, should we have the January one be Zoom? Because we have a lot of on-campus activities in December, so we'll have a sense of community. And then maybe the one, Frank, as you suggested, in March, be the outside one, and kind of start the rotation that way, just so that we don't hit the potentially hot and cold seasons outside.
I agree. That's very thoughtful. I think that works.
Okay, great. So January 6th, I guess we can pencil that in and have that via Zoom. And it'd be great if we can have some communication about that we intend to rotate too. So folks know we won't be stuck on Zoom forever.
I don't know
One
if there's
clarification. I heard you that there were 5 board members. Remember, only 4 can be on that.
That's right.
I'll step down so Scott and Mariah can have a chance to be there.
Can I ask why we're doing only the 4? As long as we post it, I know the concern is quorum, but if you post that there is a meeting, there shouldn't be a concern of us gathering.
Well, I think you can gather as an attendee, but not as a panelist. Am I right in saying it that way?
I believe that's correct. I'm not fully up to speed on all open meeting laws, but I believe everyone can attend. But as far as panelists, we can only have 4 board members. So obviously, we want you to attend as a community member, as parent, as faculty, Mr. Tanner, of course.
And I don't know how many of you feel about January 6th, but that is a celebratory day in Waldorf tradition to have the Three Kings celebration.
3 Kings.
What about Wednesday the 5th?
Sounds great.
Is that a board meeting?
April.
That's what's on the
Don't think
calendar
so.
for.
That's our first board meeting in January.
Is Tuesday the 4th too quick? I don't have a
good
problem
day.
with it.
That sounds like a good day.
Tuesday the 4th, Zoom, 4 board members, and are we choosing 5 or 7 for the Zoom?
I still think 7 still sounds better for families, potentially to be kind of home and finished up with dinner, and for more broad participation.
7.
Okay.
Late for you though, huh?
Do you want me to put that out publicly in an email to all parents, staff, and board? I'll take care of it.
Yes, let's do it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
Great.
Did we have any staff at our last board meeting or town hall?
Yes, we had Christy Martin. Do you want a staff member there?
Absolutely, if they're willing, yes.
I'll put that out to see if they're willing to do that.
All right. So got a few more agenda items to get through. Yeah, good shout out there, Danielle. Okay, so next on the agenda is the advisory role. I believe Dan and April are going to talk to us about that, so I'll turn over to the two of you.
Sure. So we had an idea when we were doing the last board hiring, board elections and everything, and there were so many good people, good candidates, that everybody had certain areas of passion, and it felt like a lot of people were kind of wanting to join and we've seen this in the past too, like wanting to join the board to help out in a really specific area. And it kind of made sense that I looked around and kind of thought about how other organizations work, and I'm assuming and boards work, and they often have like these advisory roles that you can establish and then appoint people in the community or that are interested in filling that capacity, and it becomes like their job on a board, and they can come to meetings and speak to that and do research. And this is it's a more intentionally defined role, I guess, versus just asking for community volunteers. And we could even, if we wanted to, we could even take it as far as having people apply for the positions, where it's even more defined. There's like a position description that would assign the expected. It's more work for us to create these, obviously, and we would create them probably based on priority. But the position description would actually what the responsibilities of the role are, kind of how often we want to check in, just to make some light framework around it to kind of help formalize it a bit. And just thought that was an interesting thought and wanted to bring it to the board and see what everyone else thought. And I guess for some of the examples, I kind of was just like jotting down where like capital projects, digital marketing, retail operations, community evangelism, festival logistics, board health, and then like grant management and stuff like that. And these roles could also be held by board members if they have capacity to also be a board member. And I don't know if that's allowed, but it was like I couldn't think of any reason why a board member couldn't also be in an advisory role if they have an expertise in that area and they want to take like more work on. But I just thought that was an interesting idea. I want to see what everyone else thought.
Dan, this is Mariah. I can give my 2 cents as far as my experience of committee or advisory work. I've always had more success, especially for this size of school, is if it's task force oriented. Otherwise, there's too many cooks in the kitchen, or there's stagnation as far as synergizing and making sure that it's working and settling really well within our bylaws. So I'm wondering if those kind of topics are topics that need to exist 9 months or 12 months out of the year, or can we prioritize kind of tasks that we want to then collectively honor a task force or an advisory group to conquer that task?
I think that makes sense. It feels similar. I think the advisory role would have a point person that's representative of a group if it was big enough to warrant like a group that would be a task force working on it. Is that kind of what you're saying? Like a larger, not just one person, but like, let's say 6 people are working on the festival logistics or something like that, right? And then I was kind of trying to figure out if one person should be the point person for it, the lead, to help and to coordinate with the board and bring things and concerns and to try and like optimize communications.
I think it would be ideal, but I don't know if we have enough of the items goaled out for what we are wanting to work on. But I think once we get that settled, that would be great to have that assignment.
So worth putting more thought into?
The priorities and what we're wanting to accomplish and work on, and is making sure we have all those areas addressed.
I wonder if it has to be completely ironed out immediately right now or even in the near future. It's probably something like somebody suggested that as things arise, then we can, expand it. And when these issues aren't an issue, then the advisor can kind of take kind of a backseat role until the issue comes up again. I think it can be a very flexible, dynamic thing and not necessarily a burdensome one.
Danielle, you bring up a really interesting point about establishing goals, and maybe that's where we should start. I know that Tom had mentioned that, Tom Lopez, about having board goals, and I really liked that idea. So perhaps for next meeting's agenda, we can put board goals on as an agenda item, and we can kind of start talking to that, and then maybe do the framework for the advisory roles after that, if everyone thinks that's a good go forward strategy.
I like that. And our OKRs kind of establish that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll just jot down a note that we'll talk goals next. I'll put that on the agenda for next meeting.
Maybe we can all come to the meeting with some goals that we have in mind that we want to accomplish.
Great idea.
Yeah, I know there's things that I have in my head that have yet to go to paper.
And Frank, I'd really like to hear from staff and faculty on their items, their want items.
You bet.
Would this be a broader or deeper kind of planning of bringing in facilitation and kind of strategic strategy, or are we just going to kind of bring forth our thoughts? I think structurally, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I think we start high level, board goals, right? And I don't think we should have 57. I think we should have maybe something reasonable, 4 or 5. And within those goals, if one of them's like fundraising, then I think then we chunk it down into, under fundraising, these are the 5 activities of fundraising. And then maybe we can bring in that advisory person that kind of heads up those ideas. But I want to make sure that our goals are measurable, and that we can actually achieve them. And I feel like if we get too many goals on our plates, we're not going to be able to achieve them. And then that's going to be, demoralizing and ineffective. So I think if we can get, hopefully, ideally, 5 maybe goals for the board, not for the school, for the board, us, our goals, and then those can trickle down maybe into other areas. Does that sound reasonable for everyone? I just don't want to bite off more than we do 2.
I'd say no more than 5 for sure. I was thinking 3 to 5. Organizations tend to really struggle on what to prioritize and focus if you try and bite off too much right off the bat.
Yeah. Mariah, what do you think? I know you've been a part of other boars as well. So what do you think worked best?
I think, part of this group and being 9, we're getting down to 5 strategically, building off of our values, our mission, our internal goals to make sure that they mirror the board goals. That's a lot of work to kind of get down to those 5 focus points that mirror what's going on with staff. I think it's great either way, but I think if we're going to do a strategic kind of goal orientation within our board, that also has to look at internal work that's happening to make sure that we're working in tandem instead of kind of building silos of our own subjective thoughts or goals.
Is that what you were referring to when you were mentioning having someone help guide that process? Yeah, that's what I thought, to keep that chaos from becoming very frustrating where everyone brings 5. Then we end up with like 45 different goals where there's only 10 really overlap strongly, and then it ends up being in a bunch of horse trading or trying to figure out like how they can align or what's the Venn diagram look on this and all this stuff like that. It gets real contentious and difficult to make progress.
Any other thoughts? Okay, so for next meeting, let's start with ideas.
John's got his hand up,
and we can brainstorm. Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Chan, I didn't see. Please go ahead.
Do all the board members know what the school's mission statement is?
I do.
Is that no or yes?
Yes, and I keep it with me.
Great. Would you read that to us, please?
Yes. And John, we have a board mission and we have a school mission. Just confirming which one you do want.
Both, please.
Okay.
If you would just title them appropriately.
Certainly. Desert Marigold School mission. The mission of Desert Marigold School is to provide an educational context that emphasizes intellectual achievement and the imaginative, artistic, and moral growth of its students by addressing their hands, heads, and hearts. The school will encourage students to be lifelong learners and independent thinkers, as well as self-motivated, self-disciplined, creative, adaptable, and responsible individuals. We seek to establish and maintain a school that provides an individualized, nurturing approach and achieve the following goals. Shall I continue? It's a little long. I'm happy to. To ensure each child's excellence in core academic skills by providing a curriculum enlivened with the arts of painting, music, theater, movement, singing, sculpture, and handwork. To educate according to age and development so that learning and growth are united. To present the curriculum in multiple and integrated ways so students have many different opportunities to learn concepts as well as see the relationship to the larger whole. To nourish the spirit of curiosity so that students continue to learn long after the end of formal training. To encourage fundamental values and life skills, including responsibility, perseverance, integrity, self-discipline, trustworthiness, craftsmanship, friendship, and compassion. To make available this quality of education for all ethnic and socioeconomic sectors in our community.
Thank you, Danielle.
Thank you.
Welcome.
I just thank you, Kirsten, for allowing that. I just thought we all should hear that and keep that in mind as we move forward with setting goals and making plans. Fair enough? Yeah, thank you.
Agreed. Thank you for bringing that up, Mr. Tanner, and Danielle for having it at the ready to read to us. And it's on the website as well. So as you're thinking about your goals for what you'd like to see for the board this year, make sure you keep the mission in mind, both missions in mind, and we'll add it as an agenda item for further discussion next December 15th meeting.
And since this is board specific, should we also be thinking of those 3 or 4 objectives in the bylaws that we're supposed to be keeping in mind as well? Okay.
Yes. Yes. So maybe, does anybody want to take on the task of maybe sending a summary email after the meeting, just stating, things to keep in mind, bylaws, mission, kind of the goals, so that we can be all wrapped up for next meeting? Anyone want to take on that task? Danielle, you looking excited?
Excited to find
I'm
someone
excited
else.
to see a new volunteer.
If you, I could send out the bylaws and the email on that, the 2 mission statements and the bylaw objectives and purposes.
Thank you, Dan. Okay. So moving on our agenda, we got a couple more items to get through. So I know we're going a little bit over our scheduled hour. We'll try to pick up the pace a bit. We have the DBA renewal, doing business as Desert Marigold School. Danielle was good enough to catch that for us and realize that we needed to reapply for that. And Danielle, did you have any updates on that, or are we still kind of waiting to get the paperwork?
So Arizona Secretary of State, excuse me, is filing time is 3 to 4 weeks. So they have us officially as of November 19th. We have a file number and an app ID, and as soon as that is approved to their timeline, they will send that email for the payment portal, and it'll be active for 5 years.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Danielle. And as we're building on the framework that Gregory started for us, as far as kind of the board playbook, Danielle will add the steps into that as well. So in 5 years, when it needs to be renewed again, we'll have that already at the ready. And then the next topic here is going to be mentorship. And April, if you want to go ahead and take that one, since you've done all of the work on it, that would be wonderful.
Sure. So I'm not going to have us pull it up or anything, but everyone should have the direct link that I sent for all of the items. I even sent that to Ben and Scott in their personal email. So you should have copies of this. There's a document called Mentorship, and it is really meant for those older members who have been here, who have been asked to mentor a new member. And there just was nothing in writing. So Kirsten and I were talking about how, we really want to follow Gregory's, thought process, get everything in writing so that as older people move on and finish their terms and new people come in, there are documents that already exist that help to explain what has been done and how to do it. So it's ideas that we put together for those who are mentoring new members. Very basic things, but just everything all in one spot. So you're welcome to peruse that, whether you're a new member or you've been here for a while, just so that you can follow along and see what you should be saying and what you should be receiving from your mentor. And as always, I'm sure, Kirsten and I are up for whatever questions you may have at any time. Everyone gets texts and emails from me, so feel free to send me whatever questions you have. And I think that's it. Kirsten, you want me to add anything to that, or you want me to move on to the calendar stuff?
That's perfect, April. Yeah, unless there's any questions, we'll move on to the calendar.
Yeah, I think you need to grant us access to that document, just a heads up. No,
okay.
You don't have to worry about it right now. I just noticed.
No, I'm pretty good about that. I'm just shocked. It's going to drive me crazy that it's not on there. Nope, you're right. It's individual people. I'm going to change it right now because it'll take me 2 seconds. Okay.
Thanks, April.
Okay, moving on. So obviously we have 3 new board members. There's been a lot of email chaos this week, but once you do have access to your board email, you should have access to all of these documents. So I just wanted to bring your attention to a couple of things that are in this week's folder. Number one, there's a PDF called 2021-2022 board meeting schedule. Those are all of the meetings for the entire year in one handy dandy, print it out and stick it in your whatever you carry around with you, or put it into your phone. It's all in one spot. We also have the 2021 quarterly board calendar. There's information there that we just always look back on. It's where we put our reminders. It's where we write our details for reports that we need to put in. It's just great to look at that occasionally and make sure that you're on track. I update it regularly. I always mark when I update it. And it just keeps us running smoothly. And as always, if you have something that you want me to add to it, just let me know and I'm happy to do that. And you'll probably have seen Gregory all the time at meetings say, hey, will you put that on the calendar? That's fine. Kirsten, obviously, that's the case as well. And now we have our 2022 quarterly board calendar. I did check that with Gregory before he left. It was probably one of the last things he did. So please make sure everything is on there so we don't screw it up. So everyone should have access to that now. Obviously, it's up to date through the spring. And then after that, it's kind of blank dates because we don't set up our meetings quite yet at that point. I want to say there's one more thing I was supposed to talk about, but maybe not. Oh, yes. So one of the things that came out in the contemplation exercise was that the general community wanted to see more board members on campus and interacting more. They just wanted us to be more visible. So we were asked to make sure that at least 2 board members attend every special event. So there's a document in here called Board Availability for Special Events. We sent it around to everyone for the first semester and they filled it out. It's simply putting your name on it and committing, yes, I will attend this event. So you should have access to that. It's a Google Doc. You can just put your name right on it so we know who will be attending those events. And then I forward that on to Bonnie and Frank and they forward it to whomever. I don't know who they forward it to, maybe teachers, maybe parent council. But it's just a good way to be dependable, sign up and make sure that we're showing up and participating and, following through on that, the requests that were made of us for the contemplation exercise. And I think that's it. That was a lot of information really quickly, but those documents are there. If you have questions now, shoot. If you have questions later, just send me an email or a text.
April, thanks for bringing up the contemplation. We are coming up to our 90-day renewal date, so I think we're in discussion now, talking about who would meet when and where, and check in on progress and need items.
April, just to make sure, the folder that I'm looking at, about half the documents I don't have access to. When I get my Desert Marigold email, that should allow access to all of them, right? Okay.
I have a question that's not, I mean, I'm not a board member, but I am wondering with the calendar, parent council sometimes, I know that I get an invitation for it, but I don't get on the agenda for a report. Is there a way for parent council to be on the second meeting agenda every time so we can give a report?
Yeah, I'll put you on for starting next on the 15th, and then I'll have you be on at the second meeting of the month going
Great.
forward.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Great. And then Danielle, I'll put you on the spot again to give us a tax credit update, if you wouldn't mind.
Thank you. Yes, let me. So I have figures up until October 31st. I was information hasn't been reconciled for December, so I won't get that until the end. I was hoping to have some Giving Tuesday updates. We will have those shortly. So bear with me, opening this now. So as of October 31st, our consumable donations are up to 20,000, which is wonderful. I can have a comparison of last month, but I don't have them side by side. Restricted donations are at 8,000. Unrestricted donations are at 1,848. And tax credit donations are up to 1,675. And of course, those are lower than we'd like, but they are definitely inching upwards. So we appreciate that very, very much. In a normal year, we would be closer to tax credits of 10,000. So we do have a good chunk to go. And we will never turn away a donation. There is no amount too small. We would be honored to receive donations from you, family members, friends, communities, or businesses. We had our Parent Square posts that are pretty regular. We don't have a big social media presence. We noticed that when we do post on our school Facebook page, we might get 2 or 3 views. So it's something with the algorithm that they use that just doesn't put us high up, but we'll figure that out and hopefully get more attraction there. So there were some people who mentioned they didn't see a lot of coverage there, and it's because we just don't get the hits or the views there just yet. But thank you. And I can definitely use some support for more social media outlets so that I'm not overtaxing Ms. Laura. So if any of you have a strong point or willing to do some pictures for eye-grabbing small video snippets for all the social media sites. So your TikToks, your Snapchats, your Facebooks, Instagrams, anywhere we can be, even if it's in free newsletters, we'd like to do that. So thank you.
Danielle, I'm social media savvy, but I would love to support of building a social media calendar so that we're hitting on all the sweet spots within the year. They're usually toolkits, so I would love to work with you to get that started.
Thank you.
Fantastic. And then last but not least, the Spring Gala. Nellie, I'll turn that over to you.
Well, once I sent that to you, I had a conversation with Frank, and he seemed pretty insistent that we would not be able to get a liquor license, a temporary liquor license, to have the gala on campus. So I'm in the process of going through like the 20 links on each of those pages to just read all of the regulations and guidelines. But I mean, Frank seems to know, being that he's been the administrator for many years. I would hope that we could find a way around it, because I think it would be great to have the spring gala on campus.
Is there a loophole of using the space across from us for just drinks and having people gather over back to our side of campus?
I can look into that. I don't even know. And Frank, maybe you can, is there a loophole if it's like a BYOB, if we're not serving anything and people are bringing their own alcohol?
No, the state statute clearly says, and I'm supposed to have signage, and I don't at this point. Our school doesn't have it. It clearly says prohibit.
You cut out again, Frank. State statute says nothing. Gala's a go. So if he comes,
statute's in our parent handbook.
If he comes back, oh, there you are. I think you're back now, Frank.
Sorry.
I was just like, I have to dig through those. There's like 12 or 15 links on each page. I have to dig through each of them to see if there is a special events licensing that we can get. I would hope that there would be.
Well, if you find that, great. If you don't, we had a student speaking earlier that mentioned one of our own, Barb Cunningham, has a warehouse that's too big for prom. Why are we tapping into her and decorating the heck out of that place?
And it's easy to put up dividers and make a space smaller if we needed to.
I don't think we need it smaller. I want it for 350 people. That's a gala. And
we've got to have student entertainers
involved with us. She loves being part of this. So
student performers.
Frank, I have a question. Is the issue that the school can't hold the license, or is alcohol can't be on campus?
Alcohol cannot be on campus by state statute.
So I was looking at like a special events license.
And look, I'd like to think that every single person in our community would say, don't worry about it, let's do it. But all it takes is one person to turn us in and we're going to look like idiots. You can't do that.
I wouldn't do that, Frank.
No, I worry about that. So at any rate, Barb Cunningham's an option. Let's talk to Barb. I didn't even think of that.
I have a couple of questions before I forget. Who out of the board has access to actually put things on Parent Square and any email blast?
I do.
Okay, are
I
you
believe
the only
April,
one?
you do as well, right?
Yes, I have access to Parent Square. Any board member, I believe you have access to do email blasts. Am I incorrect in saying that, Frank?
I don't know which board members have access to that or not. I know I have access to anything you send me, I will put out for you. But I don't know if, like, for instance, we had 3 board members tonight who couldn't even get on an email. So why would we believe they have access to send all emails when they can't even get an email? I don't know. I don't know who. I know Deb gives those to people when they're elected, and I saw the 3 emails granting the 3 new people access, but then you couldn't get on tonight, so I don't know what the miss was.
Yeah, it probably has to be set up in like Google Workspace to give them. It can be.
We can ask Laura Heaney if she knows.
But at least as of this moment, April and Kirsten do. For sure, 100%.
To Parent Square?
For Parent Square, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and on Parent Square, you can there are different layers of, the same thing with an email blast. Like, so for example, when I was doing the advisory panel and I needed to talk to teachers, I could post something on Parent Square just to the teachers. So you could pinpoint who you're contacting on Parent Square, which is really helpful.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other discussions, questions, thoughts before we move to adjourn?
Just quickly, I just want to, for our new members, as soon as you get your emails up and running, please send me an email so that I know that it's working. Because you're going to be getting meeting minutes that you need to read through. And obviously I send you links, and I'm going to be sending you all kinds of stuff all the time. So let me know right away when you have access, just so I know if I need to contact Deb and see what's going on. We really need everyone to be in the loop here. Thank you.
One last announcement, making sure we all, again, as board members or class parents or family parents, have used the Parent Square signups for all our volunteer information. Or volunteer shifts for Winter Fair. Winter Fair, December 11th.
Michelle, can we just ask Michelle, for parent council, is there anything that you need to say about Winter Fair or you need to add about Winter Fair? Because that's, like 11 days away or so.
That was the biggest thing, is to volunteer for your classrooms and general ones. I did reach out to a couple people today. I reached out to Ben today to do some things. So thank you, Ben. And then the Angel Room and Fish Pond gifts, that each family is responsible for 10 items for each of those booths. So get those items turned in if at all possible. And I think that's mostly it. Thank you.
Baked goods.
Oh, yes. And baked goods. That's not everybody doesn't have to participate in baking. That's you sign up for that and volunteer for that part, but the Angel Room and Fish Pond gifts are requested of every family. So.
But we won't turn anything away.
This is true.
All right. Dan, I'm going to wrap up with the last few things, but I'd like to call on you to read the closing verse. I'm sorry I didn't let you know in advance. I was hoping to have one of the new members, but you probably don't have access to the agenda. So you get to pass this meeting, but I'll be calling on you one of the upcoming meetings. Okay, so the next board meeting, of course, is December 15th. We will have Joan Treadaway join us for some board education. We'll have an update from Michelle from Parent Council. Hopefully it'll be a wonderful update of how fantastic Winter Fair was. And we're all very excited for Winter Fair, of course. And with that, I will move to close the meeting.
Second.
Great. Any discussion? Okay. All those in favor? Great. Any opposing? Nope, it looks like that was unanimous. All right, so we pass. So Dan, I will ask you to please read the closing verse. Hopefully you've had a moment to bring it up if you haven't committed it to memory.
The most important tasks for humankind today and in the future is that we should learn to live together and understand one another. If this human fellowship is not achieved, all take of development is empty. Rudolf Steiner.
Thank you, Dan. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining, and have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you at Winter Fair.